Hey, Lyndsey, how are you?
Hello, I'm good, Elena. How are you?
I'm good, thank you so much. And it's been a long time. We've seen each other in person. Wow, I missed your beautiful face. I missed your personality and your everything I know about you. And for our audience today, I want to introduce you. So I'm talking today to Lyndsey Mary Brown. She's an actress, a writer, and the sacred self coach. Wow.
Yes.
Beautiful. Tell me about it. Tell me about your sacred self-coaching and how did you start this? I know you moved from New York, and where are you based now?
Well, first of all, just thank you so much for having me. I've missed you too. I love when we hopped on Zoom and I realized we both have bangs. So we're bang twins with our hair. But I'm actually based in Indiana now. I'm in the town that I grew up in Indianapolis, Indiana. And I just moved back to be home about a year ago, which has been a huge transition between living in New York for about 7 years to moving back to a much smaller town than New York. And with that transition came me acting pretty much full time to now being a coach almost full time. But it's been an incredible transition. It's been really fulfilling for me personally. And I absolutely see my acting and my coaching business really going hand in hand. Something I've been mentioning to people as they have known me as an actress, it's what I have a degree in. I've literally been in costume since I was about 2 years old. Now when I'm coaching, people are like, oh my gosh, wow, how did you go from acting to life coaching? And something I love to say about my degree in theater is that really, yes, I'm a performer, but my degree is really in empathy, in active listening, and in connection with others, understanding human beings. And that love for vulnerable connection, honest connection with others absolutely translates into my coaching. I feel like the same way when you're on stage in a play, you're creating this experience for everyone in the audience. Coaching obviously is different because I'm not pretending to be a character, I'm being myself, but I am still space holding and facilitating a safe environment for people to come and to feel and to share their stories and listen to other people's stories. And I really see myself now as a community facilitator and a community collaborator with other artists and creatives. So in my coaching business, I do work with clients who are creatives and entrepreneurs and artists. And so there's absolutely that bridge there, but I really love what I do. And it's just been a thrill to continue expanding my skill sets and to use them in different ways, not just on stage, but off stage as well.
So what do you do? What are your services as a coach, as a life coach? I saw you do tarot, right? It's
I
so
do.
fascinating because I love tarot.
I do too. I've read tarot actually for a couple of years, and I didn't know how it was going to translate into a business or into my coaching or anything like that. But really the way I got started is when the pandemic hit, I was in New York City in my tiny studio Harlem apartment. And I was nannying and teaching at the time, but I was working with kids. And I wanted to make the transition for a while to teaching not only children, which I have many years experience in, but really teaching adults. But I didn't want to be in a classroom setting. I didn't want to be in academia, like going back to school and getting another degree or my master's degree, something like that. And so when my acting jobs shut down, I lost a film project. I mean, you know the story. I lost lots of theater projects as well. It was truly just a really hard, difficult time. Yeah. And on top of that, I lost my nannying position and I lost my teaching position. So it was just me really figuring out how I could take what I've always wanted to do and make it a reality in this time. And so I spent quarantine, of course, on Zoom and taking acting classes and doing those kinds of things, working on films remotely and just rehearsing from a distance while we could. And during that time, I decided to get my life coaching certification. So I actually went through a pretty rigorous 6-month certification process, had a lot of studying, a lot of practicing, and I was really just kind of leaning into my spirituality at that time too. So I was reading tarot cards for myself. I was meditating every day and really just kind of growing, self-reflecting, and doing as much healing as I could in the middle of this crazy time for the world. So I ended up really starting my coaching business in August of 2020. I wasn't fully certified yet, but I was just kind of taking on clients for free and sort of bartering different creative services and just starting to get experience under my belt. And I started having people that really wanted coaching with, they were kind of asking about their life purpose, their life direction. A lot of people were so lost during the pandemic that had also lost their jobs, that had lost their creative opportunities. And they were really just wanting guidance and someone to listen and really encourage them to pave a new path. And so in that way, I felt like I was coaching people while I was also learning and going through the same things that they were. And I love being that kind of a leader that's not leading with authority or knowing more than you or being further ahead, but that's actually your collaborator that's here to say, I am welcome. Like I'm welcoming both of our perspectives. I'm happy to share my knowledge with you, but also I'm learning too. So here, hold my hand. Let's do it together. So really in my coaching business, like I mentioned, I do work with creatives and entrepreneurs, but a lot of people that come to me are also looking for their purpose, looking for direction and clarity. And I thought, what a fun way to include tarot cards and spirituality into coaching as well. To me, spirituality is universal. It's just believing and connecting in yourself and believing in the magic of life that's really bigger than all of us. The same way when you think about community, there's such a further reach when we work together than we can really make on our own in many ways. So we're just stronger together. And in spirituality, I find that no matter what you believe, no matter what your background is, you are tapping into faith and positivity, that things are going to be okay, that you're going to get through it, that even your biggest mistakes can be your biggest lessons that can, lead to your next big breakthrough. So that's really what I hold clients in these days. I really consider myself, I know my official title is a sacred self coach. And the reason why I call myself that is because I love being a mirror for others to see themselves as this beautiful, sacred, perfectly flawed human being that's just learning. And knowing that it's okay to learn, knowing that it's okay to pivot, knowing that we all go through changes, and to have someone say, hey, I'm here to support you, to cheer you on, and to help bring your vision to life. Man, it'd be so great. I've had coaches and mentors touch my life and just help not only my business grow, but help me grow personally. And so to kind of pass that forward and be able to give that to other people that are desiring it is really, really fulfilling. So still doing that, and then also bringing more art into the world, it's just beautiful. I feel like I'm just an artist at heart in every sense of the word. I love creating containers for my clients. I love creating experiences for people. I love creating on stage and with my writing and with my singing and all the things that I do. And so it's just really amazing in the past couple of years to have created a life where my artistry is really at the center. And that is just so deeply, deeply fulfilling for me.
And I know you as an actress, a great, brilliant actress. I saw your work on stage, and I can see you in this role. I can see you absolutely doing a great job with coaching and inspiring other people. Could you please break down your services? So what exactly do you do in your coaching program? I know it's all on your website, but like in generally, can you just describe what people could expect from you as a coach?
Yeah, of course. Thank you. And I have to say, Elena, you're an amazing actress too. I've loved working alongside you and watching you. And it's just so fun to connect with other artists. So I receive that compliment deeply. And thank you so much.
We had lots of fun.
Yes.
Projects.
Yeah, totally. I just remember all of our time together so fondly. And I'm happy to be here today as well. But in my coaching business, Really the way that I work with clients is in a few different ways. The first is one-on-one work. So my bread and butter is working one-on-one with clients, people who are either going through a transition or really who are artists or visionaries that want to bring something to life. So I have worked with other entrepreneurs that want to get a business off the ground and start something new. I've worked with people that just want to start a YouTube channel or a podcast or begin writing a play, learning a new instrument, and really just want someone on their side to hold them accountable to learning and to keep encouraging them to grow. Because being a beginner at something is really scary and it can be so difficult. Yeah. And so to have someone cheer you on is really fantastic. So working one-on-one with a coach is my favorite way to serve people. But the other way I work with people as well is I teach master classes and I hold group courses. So I've created a course on trauma healing and shadow work for people that really want to do work on themselves at home. So I have a course on that. I have a course also on spirituality, teaching other people how to read tarot and how to see tarot cards is really just a reflection of you and your journey through life. It's fun, it's creative. I've taught a masterclass as well on artistry and creativity, and just how to let your creativity flow. It almost kind of reminds me of an improv class in a way where you just kind of throw out ideas and see what sticks and how it feels in your body and how you want to express yourself. And so even though it's a coaching container, it always reminds me a little bit of an acting class. So those are the main ways I work with people in coaching. But on the other side of it, I also offer healing sessions because I do see that tarot is incredibly healing for people. It's basically a jumping off point for us to get really deep about what's going on in your life, about any challenges that you're experiencing, big successes you're having, and being able to share that with someone else. But I'm also a Reiki master. So Reiki is an ancient form of healing from Japan. And I have gone through my different levels of certifications in the past couple of years as well. And now I'm a Reiki master. So anybody that experiences chronic pain, that struggles with mental illness, or just is having a time in their life where they're feeling low energy, feeling off balance for whatever reason, Reiki is an amazing practice that has changed my life. And I love facilitating that for people as well. So it's kind of, I have one side of my business, which is coaching, and the other side of my business, which is healing.
Beautiful. May I have a tarot session with you? I want you to read for me if I will have a big success.
Yes, anytime. Absolutely, anytime. Tarot is my favorite thing in the world. I love, love, love reading tarot for people. So anytime.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Tell us about your experience as an actress and singer in New York before the pandemic. What were your favorite projects, if any, and directors you worked with, as well as playwrights and just favorite companies you worked with? I know you worked with Shots and you worked with a New Short Play Festival. Tell us more about your experience.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. I love this question because I sincerely have loved almost every single project I've ever worked on. There's just something I learned from every production I've been a part of, but I think some of my favorites, oh my gosh, how can I even narrow this down? I really have fond memories actually of the first production I was ever in when I was in New York City. And it was just an amazing, incredible opportunity. So when I landed in New York, I was an intern for a small theater company at the time. And I held auditions for this theater company. So I was the runner. I was the room runner. I wasn't even auditioning, but I am a singer and it was for a musical. And anyway, it was like one of those classic stories. I'm like fresh in New York. I've only been there for a couple of weeks, terrified, don't know what I'm doing. And on my lunch break, I actually went in and I said, hey, can I audition for you? And the company I was interning for didn't even know I was an actress, but they let me audition. They were super nice. And I ended up booking a role in this musical called Blueprint Specials. So Blueprint Specials was put up by the Public Theater as part of a theater festival. And it was amazing. The play was so incredible because it was a mixture of actors, but also veterans. The play was about war and the army, and it was about all sorts of things, but it was so awesome to bring the awareness of veterans and what they've been through in war and for this country on stage, and to really share their stories, especially through song and through art. So that was amazing, and I loved it. The theater company that I worked for is called Waterwell, and our director was Tom Ridgely, and he is just such a beautiful soul. The last time I think I talked to him, he was working in the Midwest for a Shakespeare company. So he left New York for a residency for a little while, but I loved that production. And then I also have, you mentioned Shots. That's actually, so long story, but this is how I got connected to you. So Amios Theater in NYC, their company put up Shots, which was a small collection of original work. So basically they'd give us a prompt, and there were so many people involved in the company, and they'd assign you to a play. So they'd give a prompt, and then all of a sudden the writers would get to work and write, and then they'd assign a director and assign your cast, and you'd work together. Only in a few short weeks, I want to say, maybe like 6 weeks, 8 weeks, maybe it was even less, but we put up these productions. So the first one I was in was called It's a Wonderful Afterlife. And it was directed by Becky Abramowitz, who I've worked with.
Great. She's a great director, yeah.
Oh, so great. Yeah, I love her. So I got to work with her. She was my director. And actually, our friend Nicole Goot was the composer. So I met Nicole. We worked on that production together, which I sang in. And then meeting Nicole, she actually said, hey, you should think about being a part of the New Short Play Festival with Paul Michael. So she connected me to Paul, and I ended up being in the New Short Play Festival from seasons 4 through season 7. So I did all of those seasons, and every production I did with that company was so amazing. I love the New Short Play Festival. I love every single person in it, all the directors, all the actors, all the writers. I really loved working with Maggie LaMonica, which I know you've had on here recently, and also Chandler Clemens, an incredible director, amazing writer, one of my very favorite people to work with. Super fond memories of him. And then lastly, the other one that's coming up was actually the last play I was in before the pandemic hit. I played a character called Rosalind Honeycutt in A Beautiful Color, which was written and directed by Frank Dunham. Yeah, you had on here as well. So small world. But yeah, it was with his company, Creative Stages Entertainment, and I got to play a really fiery Southern woman. She's terrible, actually. She's a little bit of a villain, but it was fun to step into a role. I typically get cast as kind of the ingenue, very friendly and kind, kind of woman. And so to be someone who actually got to show such a range of emotion and character and grittiness and darkness in many ways was really fun to explore. And Frank was an incredible director that held me in that. And I really enjoyed those projects, but it's so hard to pick a favorite. They were all really incredible. But I know that's how I met you too, was through the New Short Play Festival. And it's just amazing the connections you make when you collaborate and are with your community. And I'm so grateful for all of those connections, truly.
Yes. New Short Play Festival gave all of us the platform to practice and to strengthen our crafts and connect, which is the most important, and become friends.
Yes.
That's wonderful. Yes. And I miss that project. Yeah. So I should drop a note for Paul.
Absolutely. Hey, Paul, start it back up.
We all speak about you, right? So, and also talking about Maggie LaMonica. I just interviewed her a couple of weeks ago, and
it was an amazing interview. I loved watching it.
Thank you so much. I love her. So, and you two, you and Maggie, you're doing the podcast called Love, Life, and Everything in Between. Wow, I was amazed to listen to the few series of that podcast. Made my day. And tell me about it. I know it was your idea originally. So tell us more about it, how you got inspired by this wonderful project, by this wonderful idea, which led to launch this project. And really, it happened in 2021. So when people really needed some inspiration, some good news, some kindness, something sweet, when the world was falling apart. So tell me more about it.
Absolutely. Yeah, the podcast idea really came from a very deep desire to connect with others and to get really honest about how we were all doing, because it wasn't easy, especially as a creative and as an actress in New York City. And I was sitting with just how real and raw that was. I had a lot of my friends that are actors, musicians, writers, directors all around me. But every time I would call them, it's kind of everyone was like, I'm fine. I'm doing fine. Everything's good. When I really knew that they were struggling. And so it was born out of this deep desire to be like, hey, it's okay to be vulnerable about what's going on. And the more that we create space for our honest experiences, the more that we can find the beauty in it. It doesn't mean it makes it any easier. It doesn't take away from all the grief that was happening during that time. But I love to believe that even in the midst of great challenge, we can create amazing connection and make art. So that was my desire, was to make art. And I've always been so close with Maggie. We actually worked together 2 times in the new Short Play Festival, and worked with Chandler Clemens also as our director. So we just kind of stayed tied, stayed together. Fate just kind of brought us together. And so Maggie and I kept in touch, and I had mentioned to her, wow, you know, I really want to start having conversations with more artists. I want to create a platform that can raise their voices, actually very similar to what you're doing, Elena. And it's part of why I admire your vision and what you're doing so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. It's so important to create dialogue and conversation. So I mentioned it to Maggie, and Max was like, what? That's an amazing idea. Let's do it. And I was unsure because I've never done anything like that before. I had to learn from scratch, really. So Maggie and I started Love, Life, and Everything in Between, and we really just wanted it to be a space where nothing was too taboo, nothing was off the table, and just to have honest conversations. And so we released a few episodes, and then we decided to actually rebrand the podcast into Positivity. And Maggie and I have been working on that project for well over a year now, and we have been really just figuring out exactly what we want the podcast to be, figuring out how to create a podcast and hopefully create it well. And we have so many people that we'd love to connect with and have on our podcast as well. So 2023, we're really excited for. I know last year a lot came up for Maggie and for me personally, so we took a little bit of a step back from producing episodes, but this year the time is right, and it's just aligning for us to kind of get back to the drawing board and to continue creating. So we're really excited about that. I am just so thrilled, and I love creating conversation and just, again, space holding. I feel like it's what I'm meant to be doing. So it's fun to do it through podcasting for sure. And it's so sweet that you listened. And I'm so glad it put a smile on your face, because I think the world does need those kind of conversations where it helps you just ground and calm and be like, you know what, I'm going to be okay. And to have that experience with other people as well is just really beautiful.
Yeah. And being around like-minded people is important.
Yes.
People who think same way as you do. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, so wonderful. So Lyndsey, share with us your website and your social media so people can find an information about you, your coaching, and what I opt for. And I also include those in the notes under the video once I post it. And this is how people will follow up.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Elena. Of course. Yeah, my you can find me at my website. It's www.lyndseymauriebrown.com. Again, it'll be posted below, I'm sure, so you can click on it. And my Instagram handle is Lyndsey Marie Brown. So just like my website, Instagram is really the social media platform I hang out on the most. I've created an amazing community, not just created, but connected with and been a part of other people's communities. And it's such a beautiful place. That's really been very welcoming and inspiring to me. So I'm mainly on Instagram, but I have a Facebook page as well. It's my name, Lyndsey Marie Brown, with my coaching initials at the end. So it's CTACC. That's my certification name. You can find me there. And you can always reach out to me on my website. I have a contact me button, and you can always email me through there. I'm very quick to respond, and I'm always open to invitations to collaborate, to be on podcasts. I love to return the favor as well. I find that any person that connects with me enough to interview me, I want to interview them too and be
lovely.
really pick their brain as well. So I'm always open for invitations there to connect with coaching clients or collaborators to talk about art, acting, music, all of the things. So I'm excited to hopefully connect with more people that way. And Elena, I know I speak for Maggie and myself. We would love to have you on the podcast as well.
Oh, thank you so much. I'd love to be your guest on the podcast. I'd love it. I'd love it.
Yes, you were such an amazing artist as well. I love this project that you're creating. I've always loved watching you on stage and hearing you speak. Hearing about your life and your perspective is so beautiful and so enriching. And so I'd absolutely love to put you in the hot seat and just learn more about you and be able to amplify your voice and your visions as well.